There's a lot going on in our lives with the responsibility of family, work, and friends. In fact, the pace of our days can be so intense, many of us just seem overwhelmed. Well, today we're going to ask Dr. Jenny Wilkins from Age Vital Pharmacy what we can do to combat the anxiety of stress and all the things that keep us up at night.
Very true. That sounds like me. My staff is like, why are you sending emails at 3 o'clock in the morning? And then I had this question online at the ABC, my Suncoast View, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed all the time, and what do I do to combat that? And how do I stay, fit and healthy and not let it affect my metabolic physiology? So I'm guilty.
That's my first question. When you talk about stress, we all know it's bad, but what does it cause? How does the stress impact the health of our bodies?
Stress, number one, can increase cortisol, and cortisol makes you super anxious, and then it can also cause the adrenal fatigue, or super tired. I know the last couple of weeks after Irma, and then having 4 children and school starting, and there's so much, like, life can just get so hectic. I was wanting to fall asleep like at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like an overwhelming sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? I'm like, I'm so young, I shouldn't be this tired, and I'm thinking, how many other people are feeling like that when life stressors just catch up to you? So feeling like you're just going to fall asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and not being able to control it, where your eyes are like, oh, I can't stay awake, and you're trying to talk to a customer or a patient or a doctor, and you find yourself, your head on
wanting to take a nap.
Right, but it can affect your blood pressure, it can affect, your mental state. It's not good. It's almost like chemical warfare when your hormones are, out of alignment.
So. I know you mentioned being tired, but are there other signs that our body shows us that we're overwhelmed or anxious, or just just need to pull back?
There's lots of signs when someone's starting to feel overwhelmed, and it's directly related to anxiety. So you have, agitation, you're easily aggravated. Anything anybody says just like really irritates you. Depression, general unhappiness, loneliness, and isolation. A lot of people that feel overwhelmed, they don't want to leave the house, they don't want to go out. So when I'm calling somebody and like, hey, let's go out, and they're like, no, I'm too tired. Or, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they snip at you. Someone says something and then they take it the wrong way. Those are signs of somebody that's starting to get, that almost, that anxiety, that sense of overwhelming. So those are signs to look out for, friends and loved ones, because you can look and be like, oh my gosh, are you feeling overwhelmed? And then when you ask them that question, you're like, yeah. And they don't want to talk about it because they feel like there's something wrong with them.
I know in the past you've mentioned CBD and how that can impact and help with anxiety, but let's go back and talk about what is CBD and how it plays a role in reducing anxiety.
CBD is a non-psychoactive chemical in the cannabis plant. So you have to remember, you have cannabis. There's only one cannabis plant. You have the sativa and the indica, and so it's known as marijuana, but there's really only it's called cannabis. I don't like the word marijuana. So you have hemp, it's still cannabis. So hemp is when the cannabis plant has the opportunity to grow and mature, so it's a nice tall cannabis plant. And then the indica strain is, the one that has the high levels of THC is the small bushy cannabis plant. So I always tell people I'm a fan of the cannabis plant that's grown, to its fullest. Yeah, 15 to 25 feet,
and
tall.
So
they can get up to.
CBD is something that comes out of that plant?
Yep, CBD is called cannabidiol. So, a majority of the cannabis plant, when it's allowed to grow nice and tall, is cannabidiol, and it has full spectrum of all the cannabinoids, so THC being one of them, but it's got less than 0.3%. So it's not psychoactive anymore, and it doesn't show up, in your laboratory work when you're doing a drug test. But all of the medicinal properties of CBD, 96% of the medicinal properties come from that CBD, and one of those medicinal, benefits is helping with depression and anxiety and senses of, being overwhelmed.
And in fact, you brought some products that different forms of that. Let's talk about some of these
manufacture, different forms, even for different doctors, to sell them out of their offices. I do the honey sticks. Honey sticks, I infuse it with the local raw honey, so you're getting the medicinal properties of the honey as well. But putting the CBD in there, it's great for children with autism spectrum, and children get overwhelmed too with schoolwork. There's so much demand these days with schools. And then you have the rapid dissolving tablet. That's a patented, my patented delivery mechanism dissolves right away underneath the tongue. So someone that's feeling overwhelmed, having a panic attack right there and then, they can grab one of those, and then their panic attack goes away within 15 to 20 seconds.
Wow.
That's huge. And you're actually feeding the brain exactly what it needs. One of my most popular sellers is the tincture. The tincture is a full spectrum of, the cannabinoids, so it's got high CBD, but it's got low levels of THC, but still you know, considered agricultural industrial hemp. And then I have capsules for people that have chronic symptoms of feeling overwhelmed. Some people just every day, their life is basically my executives. They just feel like so much. A lot of my attorneys, a lot of my doctors, they're working 18, 19 hours a day. And that's going to, you know, play, you know, mental warfare. And then my favorite, and this is actually my vape, you light it up, you put, you put the tincture oil inside there, and then you vape it. And then you just let it out. So right away, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, you feel super calm. And now you're avoiding Xanax and Prozac and Wellbutrin and Trazodone and Valium and all these neuropsych medications.
Well, I mean, sounds like a good alternative to some of those other medications. So, but you can get more information about this and a lot of the things that happen at Age Battle Pharmacy just by visiting their website or going to their location downtown in downtown Sarasota. And next, we're going to get in the spirit of Halloween with our pets. We'll be right back.